The Weather Lab. Here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, it's all about tropical moisture. Scattered showers and thunder showers in the forecast locally, plus the tropics very active. Peak of the hurricane season week, and it's living up to its name with Florence bearing down on the North Carolina coastline. It's been a slow process, slowing down to 6 miles an hour. Tropical rain bands have been battering North Carolina all afternoon and evening long, and some spots already past a foot of rainfall, and that was as of about 8 o'clock this evening. So some rainfall totals will exceed 20 to 30 inches of rain. We'll show you that in just a bit. Meanwhile, locally, we did have some tropical showers and thunder showers moving across the area pretty much as expected. Most of the activity has pretty much gone by the wayside, but we are still tracking some light rain that's moving across Acadiana, mainly out across the Spanish Lake area over toward, not Spanish Lake, Lake Martin over toward the Breaux Bridge area, moving generally to the north. This shower was a little bit heavier earlier, about an hour ago. Now things have since quieted down, and just slight rain chances overnight tonight in the 10% range. Temperatures warm and humid in the mid-70s tonight. Now meanwhile, into the Gulf of Mexico we go. Our tropical disturbance does not look organized by any stretch of the imagination. Hurricane hunters went out here and found a broad area of weak low pressure, but nothing close, nothing that looks like a tropical depression. Nonetheless, the National Hurricane Center still maintaining a 50-50 chance this could become a tropical depression tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it's going to run out of real estate and time. The system will be moving inland as we go into late tomorrow night, early Saturday. No major impacts locally, but some of that tropical moisture you see offshore, some of that will try to work its way inland like today. But I think rain chances a little bit lower tomorrow as compared to today. Meanwhile, we continue to track Tropical Storm Isaac, of course, Hurricane Florence, Tropical Storm Joyce, no longer a subtropical storm. It's joining the tropical family. Doesn't mean anything. It's just meandering out in the North Atlantic. Tropical Storm Helene, that will be heading toward the Azores and perhaps the UK down the line, perhaps not as a tropical system, but eastern part of the Atlantic we don't have to worry about, but these two systems we do. Florence in the near term, and then perhaps Isaac, and we'll tell you our reasoning coming up in just a little bit, but getting slightly more organized, but really not much. There continues to be a west-northwesterly shear going across Isaac as we speak. Meanwhile, Florence downgraded to a Category 1 hurricane, and that is certainly good news. The bad news is this is a very large hurricane with a large wind field, and it's moving very slowly. So you're going to have a prolonged wind event along the coastal barrier islands of North and eventually South Carolina. On top of that, storm surge, and then on top of that, you're going to have the rainfall because it's moving so slowly. Down to 90-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving to the northwest at about 6. And here's the forecast track through the next 5 days, kind of paralleling the North Carolina coast down through about the Myrtle Beach area, and then curling through South Carolina up through the Midwest, which, by the way, has been very wet, and then eventually the Northeast. Here are the tropical storm force winds and the hurricane force winds edging into portions of North Carolina. Those winds begin to diminish. Still a Category 1 hurricane tomorrow night at this time. Still some hurricane gusts right near the Myrtle Beach area, and then the storm will begin to weaken overnight tomorrow night and then continue to weaken thereafter. But even Charleston could see tropical storm force winds, thus a tropical storm warning there. Hurricane warnings from south of Myrtle Beach all the way up to almost Virginia this evening. And again, storm surge, big issue on the outer banks of North Carolina and the coastal wetlands here. Our water levels could come up more than 10 feet, and that goes for all the barrier islands down through much of North Carolina. Farther to the south, you can see water levels elevated from Georgia all the way up through New York with this system. So after it makes landfall, the big issue is going to be rainfall. Rainfall on the order of 20 to 30 inches, quite possible. Portions of North Carolina, South Carolina, and then some heavy rainfall going up through the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Meanwhile, we continue to watch Tropical Storm Isaac might degenerate down to a tropical depression, maybe even a tropical wave, but we're going to have to watch this even if it does weaken to a wave, because some of the forecast models take this toward the Gulf of Mexico, and it's easiest tracked with the tropical moisture. There's our disturbance moving into Texas and Mexico. Here's Isaac's moisture heading toward the Gulf by this time next week, and then we're not sure how it's going to go. Some of the moisture may split off, some of it may head toward our way, but the bottom line, 7 to 10 days, we'll have to keep an eye on that system. Meanwhile, our low pressure will be moving inland inland across Texas, and locally our rains will be kicking in once again tomorrow afternoon. So showers tapering off across the board, 75 the low, 90 the high tomorrow. Partly sunny skies early in the day, and as we head into the weekend, rain chances gradually going down, but temperatures stay up, several degrees above normal for highs and a good 5 degrees above normal for lows for the next week, and then maybe enhanced rain chances coming back for the following weekend. But by and large, so far so good with the disturbance in the Gulf. Isaac, one that we'll have to keep an eye on, and